WCLN 1170 Radio and Cable Channel 16 are pleased to present We Should Know, hosted by J.W. Simmons, an upbeat, informative look at people, places, and issues facing our community. This education-based analysis of issues will remain positive and informative as we consider closely what we should know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We Should Know is on air. I want to thank you for being with us today, each and every week at Tuesdays on WCLN Radio. Want to make sure I get our radio folks tuned in here this morning. Also, Star Communications TV, and it's replayed at 7 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday. Our guest today is Jared Barrier, and Jared's director of the YMCA right here in Clinton, North Carolina. Jared, I want to give folks a little bit about your background. You actually came to the county as a result of being at Fort Bragg with the United States Army. We want to thank you for your service for doing that. That was an outstanding job with the military, and we give our military thumbs up here on this show, and we'll continue to do that. Also want to mention that after being there, moving to Clinton in 2019, you moved as director for the Center for Health and Wellness. So you've got a background in health and wellness. Of course, you're married to Jessica. You have 2 children, attend Harold's Christian Academy, and you enjoy spending your time with your family and your 4-legged members of your family, which I think a lot of folks out there will give you a thumbs up with that. You enjoy hunting, fishing, and outdoor activities.
Yes, sir.
Let's start today. You transitioned. The Wellness Center as we know it is no longer the Wellness Center.
Correct.
You're the executive director of what is referred to now as the Y, which is the YMCA, Young Men's Christian Association. How did that intrigue you? Why that job? And I always like to ask that now at this point, because there's so many people begging for talented people like yourself to take on a job, but you took this job.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so, I mean, my entire life, I've had just a passion for health and wellness. As I got older, and especially in the military, I had the opportunity to spend time with younger soldiers, trying to make sure they had a good plan to stay fit, to really be ready and active to do their job. I mean, it's a very important part of being in the military and, being any type of first responder, really. You have to physically be able to do those tasks. And so, through that experience in the Army, I really developed my passion for being able to influence others in their ability to remain healthy and well, be able to stay fit, stay active. I mean, especially as we age, that staying active is more and more important. So that's kind of the foundation of it. When I came out of the Army, I was wanting to get into health and wellness, primarily on the nonprofit side of things. I felt that there was a greater need there than in a lot of your commercial gyms and industries. But, when I started at the Wellness Center, I'd been a member there for a few years, and just the engagement with the community and engagement with our members on a daily basis was something I'd never really experienced before. You have that camaraderie in the military and through playing sports, but this was something a little bit different. And as close-knit as Clinton and Sampson County can be, it was it was amazing to have that experience and to take part in the operations of the facility that were such an important part of everybody's lives, of our members' lives. And so whenever the facility did close, in February 2021, there was that hope that it would reopen in some capacity. And I knew then that I wanted to, be involved however I could, even if I'd gone elsewhere, if I could be a personal trainer and do that, I would have, or just a group fitness instructor. I wanted to do something. I have some experience with the YMCA prior to this. Back when I was in college in Texas, I was a summer camp counselor for 5 and 6-year-old boys and 7 and 8-year-old boys. And that was a lot of fun. That was really my first introduction to the YMCA. Where I grew up, we didn't have any around, but it's something you always hear about. You're familiar with it. It has such a presence across the country. And through that experience, that just kind of continued to build on that passion I had for fitness, health, and wellness. And so, when I started hearing that the Y may be taking over the facility, I was very excited at the prospect because, it's great to have an organization here in town with the presence that the YMCA has and all the resources that we can bring to the table. It was exciting to bring that to Clinton and take part however I could. So, when they got ready to open up the position, I jumped on it. And I could tell you the leadership with our YMCA association, all of my peers, our coworkers, our volunteers across the board, everybody is just top-notch, outstanding. We all share that passion. It's the foundation of our jobs, and it really, it's one of the things you hear from time to time from people that, when you're doing something you like, it's not work. It's fun. Absolutely. It's just part of life, and couldn't be happier with the prospect of everything we can do here in Sampson County.
One of the things that strikes me as we're talking here is that the Health and Wellness Center was probably one of the most exciting things that happened a few years ago when that facility opened. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of folks that was involved in that, or unbelievable leaders here in the community. Absolutely. Was it the COVID situation? What was the turning point, as you recall, that said that we might not be able to continue this Health and Wellness Center?
Right. So, if you remember in March 2020, whenever the state came out with a mandate for, that included, gyms, wellness centers, for us to have that government mandated shutdown, we were closed until November. And, that period there, there was such uncertainty at the beginning of the pandemic. That affected our attendance at the facility. Everybody, once we did reopen in November 2021, I think a lot of people were just not quite ready, not quite to the point that they were wanting to get back out and participate. And especially in an environment like that where, sure. It kind of seems like it might be one of those areas that you'd want to avoid, especially with the health concerns and everything that many members of the facility had. And so I believe when we reopened, attendance was just pretty low. And I think what it came down to is, the hospital, they had so much going on at that time, with COVID and all the resources that it was taking to, be able to facilitate good patient care. I mean, it was just very tough to get that done. So, it was a combination of things, but yeah, COVID really was kind of that, that driving point that caused the closure to happen. And, I think that, bringing in the YMCA to run the facility was, a great decision overall. Because as I mentioned earlier, the resources, the passion we have for it. Our association, we have multiple branches, and we can talk more on that later. But, we're in a good situation to open a branch and be able to, hit the ground running from day one with programming and that outreach and influence on the community.
One of the questions I know that somebody's going to ask me if I don't ask you is that facility itself is still owned by the hospital as far as the facility. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and I pretty much figured that, but I want to go ahead and get that out there because somebody would say, well, why didn't you ask him that? So I want to kind of transition a bit and just kind of start with the mission statement for the YMCA. And I pulled this right off of the website. And it says, our mission statement is to put Christian principles into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. And I underlined that for all kind of last thing. How is this going to change what you did previously to what you're doing now as far as reaching the larger community? Okay.
So, with the Wellness Center, there was probably just 90 to 95% of our focus was within those four walls of the facility. We ran, we had the gym area, we had the pool, we ran all kinds of fitness classes, we did our community-based wellness classes. But all of that primarily was focused within the facility itself. What I've been trying to share with everybody is that, yes, all that's going to be there again when we open our doors soon. We're going to be doing all those same things. And then, plus some, we're wanting to do even more within the facility. But there are going to be so much more of what we're going to do is going to be beyond those walls. Going to be here in town, going to be around the county. We're talking about for all, that's, we had some options for kids with the Wellness Center. And so we had some youth programming, but we're really going to be stepping that up with the YMCA. We're going to have, we're hoping to implement after school care throughout the county. Ideally, it would be here in town and in every district of the county schools. We'll have summer camps. We're hoping to be able to work with the city and county rec departments on recreational sports and provide some resources there and be able to help out and just kind of increase the options that are available to our children. So all that foundational stuff within the facility is still there, but we're going to be going out beyond that and really trying to, focus on the youth side of things. Because if there, there's three tenets basically to what we want to do, and that's to focus on youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. And as you mentioned, for all. We have the facility itself. We're trying to reach everybody we're going to have drop-in childcare starting at 6 weeks of age. We'll have some swimming and pool classes starting about the same age, maybe 6 months. So, we're wanting to be able to have something for families with the small children, with babies, and then all the way up, throughout the whole range of ages. We really, we had a very strong retirement age membership population with the Wellness Center. Hope to have the same with the Y, but we really want to be able to, foster that healthy living idea and mentality for everybody. I mean, from birth all the way through life.
It's an exciting point I think you just made with the idea of childcare, because right now one of the things that we're hearing is a lot of parents need that, especially working parents, to be able to say, I feel comfortable that with my child in a safe environment. And childcare itself has increased so radically for a lot of folks that they say we can't afford it. So when we come back from this coming break, I want to kind of cue folks up. I'd like to kind of get your thoughts on the affordability of it. Sure. Is that something that's going to be somewhere within the realm of folks being able to even afford childcare? Sure. And the other thing is going forward to look at a little bit of the tradition and history of the YMCA, and as we refer to it now as the Y, but the dynamic of that I think is important. So when we come back, let's take a look at those things.
Sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking with Jared Barrier about the Y, or the YMCA, right here in Clinton, North Carolina, to be opening the doors pretty soon and be welcoming you in. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
If you run a business, you need sales. To get sales, you need customers. To get customers, you need exposure. Let our team of experts craft and produce the perfect video ad to reach your intended audience while making the most of your advertising dollars. Call 1-800-706-6538 or visit starcom.net to contact our Star Communications production team and get your business moving to the next level.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us today. If you're listening to us on the radio, you probably may have tuned us in on your car. The name of the show is We Should Know. We're talking about health and wellness, and we're talking with Jared Barrier, who is the executive director for the YMCA, aka Y, here in Clinton, North Carolina. Jared, we went to break. One of the things I wanted to circle back on and talk about a bit was the comment you made in regards to children and folks to be able to drop their young children off and have a little free time to do some things they need to do, or if they need to run to a job or something, that'll be available. To me, that's a huge statement in our conversation. So I just felt like it was, maybe we need to spend a little more time on that, because folks are going to, if not, I'm going to get a lot of questions about, well, why didn't you ask him this? Why didn't you ask him that? So tell us how that's going to work. Okay. And is there a time frame involved in which somebody says, well, I work from 8 to 5, or I work from 10 to 3, or I just need a break during the day? How will that work, and how will that be regulated? And is there a volume? I mean, obviously there's a capacity issue. Is there a number of people you say, well, we've got all we can handle? How is that going to work? Okay. So, as most of you've probably noticed, there's been some renovations going on at the facility. Nothing really major. A lot of the common areas of the facility are going to look very similar. But one big change that we have made is our old office area. And we walk in to the right back there, the admin office area. We have converted that into a large open we call it Child Watch. And so we'll have 2 staff on hand, and starting at 8:30 every morning, parents can come in, and as they work out, they can drop their kids in there. Where we'll have 2 staff to look after them. We'll have great activities for the kids to do. They're not so many times these days we find our kids, sometimes it's easy to
set them in front of the TV or give them a tablet or something like that. And that, that has its place and everything. But one thing we're hoping to do at the Y is be able to engage with these kids. I mean, we want them to enjoy it just as much as the parents are enjoying their workout. And we want the parents to be able to, trust that we're engaging with their kids and we're not just, keeping them busy. So we're going to have some great activities for kids to do in that area. The hours will be from 8:30 to noon. That's the morning block. And then in the afternoon, we'll be open. Child Watch will be open from 4 to 7:30. So as for the cost of Child Watch, it is included in any household membership. So for example, I have 2 children. I have a 14-year-old. They're too old to be in Child Watch, but my younger child, who's 8, could be in Child Watch. So I can go work out, I can drop him into Child Watch, and I have, my membership is a 2-adult household membership. So because it's a household, my kids can automatically go into Child Watch and there's no additional cost for that. So it's part of our membership fees, and it'll be the same for anybody else who joins. It's I feel that our rates for our household family memberships are very good. And we can touch on this as well, but we are going to offer financial assistance. And I would like to touch on that at some point.
Absolutely.
But kind of continuing the Child Watch, it's not going to be daycare. So you can't drop your kids off and leave. But as you come in to work out, you can drop your kids in. So then you can get that workout. And you can get that time to kind of focus on yourself. As parents, we all need that. We all need a little bit of it to kind of decompress, and such a busy world we live in right now.
Absolutely.
And I think it's especially going to be useful for parents during the summers. When the kids are at home and not at school learning, they can come to the Y and learn. I mean, they can participate in Child Watch. Plus, we're going to have some other opportunities. Maybe not this first summer, but definitely summer of 2023.
I think that's important when I look at it, because I wanted you to clear that up. It is not a daycare program where you bring your children and you go back to your job and you work 8 or 10 hours and you come back and pick your child up. It's more a place where you can feel comfortable in taking the child. They will be engaged, from what I hear you say, and then the parent can take care of those chores, or if they just need a break, they can do that. This month is National Mental Health Awareness Month. Right. How important is it in what you do, and translate that for us to help people that go through the stresses that it appears we're going through in society today? Everything from road rage to migraine headaches.
Well, everybody needs an outlet. That kind of a good way to explain is that pressure just kind of builds. That can come from stress with work. It seems like in the last 2 years, there's been all kinds of stress outside of work that we've had to deal with. Such a change in our day-to-day activities. It's caused a lot of it. And if you don't have an outlet for that stress, it can really, it's going to go somewhere and it's going to affect you in some way. And so that's where, I'm a huge proponent of physical activity to address that stress, and, to kind of give yourself an outlet so your mental health is not suffering from that additional stress you may have. And just the stress from day to day, you need something to get physically engaged, get your heart rate up, get a sweat, all of that. I feel it's essential to really being able to be balanced and go through our daily lives. And it's the same thing with kids. Kids need it too. I mean, how long in schools have they had recess and PE? As we get to be adults, it's very easy to get out of the habit of being physically active. And, engaging with, our friends and peers. I mean, other members can engage with each other. You're getting, multiple factors in attending the facility in our program. And, you're getting that engagement with your friends. You're getting that exercise outlet. And then if you have the kids, they're going to be able to benefit from it as well. And, in the facility, we're just going to have the child watch, the drop-in child care. But, eventually we will have youth summer camps during the summer. So that is an opportunity for families during the summer, to bring their kids, to participate in our summer camp activities. It'll be every day throughout the summer, and it'll be the same, just a more expanded idea of the Child Watch. We'll have engagement activities with kids. We're wanting the kids to, when they leave our program, like at the end of the summer for summer camp, we want them to have experienced something that's going to have a long-lasting impact on them, a positive impact. And the same thing with after school. That's also an opportunity for parents if they don't have after school care options now. Once we are able to implement after school care, then once their kids are out of school, they can come participate in Y programming. We'll help them with homework. We'll engage them in other activities, and then they'll be ready for their parents to come pick them up when they're off work.
I really want to follow up on that thread that you just kind of put out there. It just seems to me that coming out of the pandemic, that children, as we're adults, children go through the same thing. It's almost like this need to be kind of re-socialized and getting along with each other and communicating, with each other and understanding games and playing and that kind of thing. Is that part of what you're seeing happening there to kind of bring children back to the awareness of how you get along with other people? Absolutely.
And I mean, just a personal example, back in 2020, schools have been closed. Both my kids, as all of everybody else were kind of stuck in the house. Mm-hmm. And that first opportunity they had to get out and play with some friends, I mean, it was just in the backyard around our house. Other neighbors, all the kids kind of just all at once came together, and just the excitement those kids had, it really drove it home for me how much they had been missing. In not having that social outlet and that engagement with their friends. And I mean, the development side of it is so important with kids. And so that is the idea. That's what we're hoping to do, is be able to provide a great environment, a trusted environment where, we have some great resources that we can put into play, that's going to kind of help kids get reacclimated and work together and engage with each other. And pull something positive from it.
When we use the term kids or youth, what age range are we talking about? I mean, we've got parents out there, obviously, with kids that I call cradle children, and then we got some that's 3, 4, 5 toddlers. Are you talking the entire environment of youth that they will be able to bring them for those particular times, or is there a certain age group?
Sure. Okay, so for the drop-in child care or child watch in the facility, that is from 6 weeks old to 11 years old.
6 weeks.
6 weeks to 11 years old.
We're talking cradle. Yeah. Wow.
So the youngest, we're going to have a great area, kind of separated within the child watch room. We're going to have a nice area separated for those, infants and toddlers. And we'll have some great engagement activities for them as well. And, so that is for Child Watch. Mm-hmm. Now, in the facility as well, we have, at 12 years old, kids can start participating out on the fitness floor. There's, depending on the type of equipment and the activities, whether they're doing a class or just, doing a self-guided activity, there's some kind of qualifications they would need, maybe just a meeting with some staff so we can show them how to operate the equipment safely, mm-hmm. How to kind of make sure that they're getting something out of it as well, and not just burning time. But we'll have, starting at 12, there'll be activities, in the facility. So then once the kids are too old for Child Watch, their parents can then have them working out and participating in classes and that sort of thing as well. And then for after school, it's going to be a good range pretty much up through middle school. So through about 7th grade. And then summer camps is going to be the same age ranges. So we'll have something from, basically kindergarten age up through middle school age.
And I think what I'm hearing is, and I'm hoping folks is picking up on this, is that it's an opportunity. If you have a regular scheduled job, you would be able to stop maybe 6 o'clock, go by and somebody's going to look after your child. You can go in and do that 30, 45 minute exercise and kind of work out, revitalize your body, and then you can kind of move on and go from there.
Right. Correct.
So I want to kind of come back from this break mm-hmm. and kind of get into a little bit of the, should I say, the intricacies of what you have accomplished so far structurally, what you're anticipating, the last things you're going to be doing, and when you anticipate opening. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking with Jared Barrier. We're talking about the Y, or the YMCA, right here in Clinton, North Carolina. Going to be opening the doors pretty soon. We're giving you some details and some insights. We'll be back in a moment.
At home or away, knowing who is at your door is priceless. Star Communications is here to help with its doorbell security camera by Skybell. Live viewing and two-way audio equips you with the ability to always see and greet anyone that shows up at your door. If this is the kind of confidence you are looking for, call Star Communications today at 1-800-706-6538 to learn more about this intelligent security that you can always depend on.
Welcome back. We Should Know is on air. Thank you for being with us today. We're talking about wellness. We're talking about being in shape, both mentally and physically. We're talking with Jared Barrier, YMCA. And I keep saying I'm referring to it as the Y because I think that's kind of the national trend now. Instead of saying YMCA, you just call it the Y. Mm-hmm. Over 10,000 locations, I understand, or read in the United States. Mm-hmm. That's a huge organization. Started back, if I remember correctly here, 1844 by George Williams, and it was in London, England. So this is not something that was developed in California and it came to New York and then ended up in Clinton. This is something that is a global entity, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct. And it's a movement. It's a movement, roughly 180 years in the making. And just for example, our association, which we fall under the YMCA of Southeastern North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Our association, this year is our 135th year anniversary. So there's many other associations and even, branches, locations that have that long history and that tradition, the tradition of that Y movement and that focus being there. And, the idea of the YMCA and what brought it all together, that's still there today. And all those needs that existed then are still here today. Mm-hmm. And even though the world changes and as technology rapidly changes, we still have those base needs, and especially on the youth development side. We're always, our children always need that attention and they get it at school, but the more we can provide them outside of just those school hours, I feel the better off they're going to be.
One of the things that and it's just kind of intrigued me when I look at the origin of the Y, in England, George Williams, the guy that actually came up with this idea, was concerned about the children in a growing industrial environment. They didn't really have anything to do. They didn't have anywhere to go. They became kind of consumed by the street, from what I can understand. And it caused me to flash forward today, Jared, and think, wow, look what's going on today. We see that same kind of language, and yet the Y has been there. Has the Y been aggressive enough, in your opinion? I'm talking big picture now, not here, obviously, but big picture, aggressive enough to capture these kids that are maybe drifting into gangs and that kind of thing? And do they have a role, in your opinion, in that?
So, I think with the Y is, we've always got a limit to our resources. Mm-hmm. Especially in some larger metropolitan areas and rural communities. This is the first time the Y is making it to Sampson County and to Clinton. Yeah. And I can't imagine to think of how many other rural areas across the country, that don't have that exposure, and how many generations have been in those rural communities, mm-hmm. Who have not had that opportunity to participate, with the YMCA. And so I think, we could always be more aggressive, but those resources have to be there to be able to do so. Mm-hmm. And the Y is funded through donations. Mm-hmm. And so the more community support we can have, the further we can increase our mission.
And it is a nonprofit, correct?
Correct.
So, for example, you mentioned donations. Somebody thinks, well, I usually do X number of dollars a year donations to a certain organization or to a nonprofit. They could do the same thing with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we would facilitate that and accept it at any point. We always have, towards the latter part of the year, we'll have our annual campaign. Each association and branch does that, where they really do that fundraising drive, trying to get out, to get some support so we can continue with our mission and continue, providing the services that we have in place, and then working to increase those services, being able to increase our youth development opportunities, to increase the things we can do in the facility, and just continue to be able to spread and open new branches like we're doing here in Sampson County.
Do you see the capacity of the Y, particularly here at some point in time, reaching a cap as it relates to capacity, your ability to handle the volume of people? I guess in one side that would be a good thing. The other side, it would not necessarily be a good thing. How do you balance that?
So, with the facility itself and the programming we're doing there, we have a limited amount of space. It's a great facility. I mean, really, it's outstanding, to see a facility of that stature here, in a smaller community. You just don't see it very often. So that speaks a lot for the focus and the importance that the community puts on, those type of activities and how much they're willing to, put into it themselves. And so, I think that, as far as activities in the facility itself, there could end up being a point where, it's too busy. That I've been to many gyms over the years where it was too busy, you couldn't find the equipment. But, I think we're a ways off from that. I think eventually we would, potentially reach a limit with our youth activities as well. But, we could always, increase staffing and increase locations. And so I feel on that side of things, that's not as much of a concern as, getting to the point in the facility where we can't support everybody who wants to, or we can't, facilitate everybody who wants to come in and participate in our programming.
Of course, I have on, for the past several years, I've had both the city and county recreation directors on, Jonathan Allen and Dana Hall. Great folks. And they were excited to hear about the Y coming to town. And they saw it as a great opportunity for partnership. How do you see a partnership and a relationship between what's happening with recreation departments in the city and county and what the Y brings? Because I hear some overlap. You just kind of give us a feeling for that.
Okay, sure. The main area that we would love to partner is on recreational sports for youth. The facility or the city and county have some great locations. And that's one thing we are lacking. We don't have a ball field out there in the parking lot or anything. So, having that partnership and being able to assist and provide resources for additional recreational sport programming, providing any support we can to them in that area. And it would be great too if we could kind of work together on our youth summer camps or even after school care, providing outlets or different locations for the kids within our programs to, go see pools. We have the pool at the facility, but, during the summer, we all know it's more fun can be more fun to swim outdoors, So really finding those opportunities where we can overlap, we can provide resources to help with their programming, or maybe we can ask them, for some resources to help us with ours, or we can work together to, really meet that goal of, like providing opportunities for kids now who may not have those opportunities, or just, be able to give them a further range of opportunities to participate in.
We've talked a lot about youth. Is there things going to be available for senior citizens, retirees, others that maybe historically saw the wellness center a way they could get out and maybe walk on a treadmill for a while? Or as you pointed out in your opening comment, it was almost like a social group. They would meet there as you saw them come in the door, and it was good to see so-and-so or what have you, and you had different classes. Will that still continue?
Yes, absolutely. So, with the Wellness Center, we had a lot of classes that could be focused towards the senior population. The hospital supported some community wellness classes, and we hope to be able to do the same. We do so at all of our locations in Wilmington. We will be spreading that programming to here as well. So there should be a good continuation of those activities for seniors. As far as, membership, one thing with seniors, we do have a specific rate for our senior members for membership. We'll have some classes geared towards seniors, and then, we'll always try to facilitate that social, side of things as well, and try to continue to be that outlet.
It seems to me a huge challenge in the sense of trying to make all of these things come together schedule-wise. So is that something that that you'll be looking at as to time and facility peaks and demands, and then work with your partners in the community like the county recreation, the city recreation, to kind of benefit both sectors? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Sure, absolutely. And when it comes to scheduling those classes and activities, I mean, we're very data driven. So, things are going to look a little bit differently a year from now than they do now, because we'll have that time to build on that data, to figure out, where is the need. If we have a class at a certain time and it's not attended, but then another class is, bursting later on in the day, then we need to be able to either open up and accept more participants in that class, or we need to come up with another option. And so that's where, partnering and working with the Parks and Rec Department, or anyone else. I mean, I know that I've known of Ys that worked with churches, that might have some activity centers or a gym or anything like that. So we would be looking to find locations where we could also, offer classes. And it may be, if it's a different location in the city or around the county, it could open up, those opportunities for another group of people who may not just be able to make it here to the facility in Clinton.
And I heard you mention churches. So, of course, as you know, this community and the larger community itself are very church people. Yeah. I'm proud to say and pleased to say that I see more steeples than I do cell towers. So,
yeah.
and that's a good thing. So that network, I think, would add a lot of gravity, just in my opinion, to what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Young Men's Christian Association, kind of our modern take on it is we want to, take those Christian principles and put them into action in making sure we're meeting our mission, and, making sure those are present as we work on our youth development, social responsibility, and healthy living.
Okay. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a bit about the metrics, talk about how to enroll, talk about how to reach out to you or to your staff, what some of the costs folks may expect. If that's a problem, talk about programs that can help them get involved with the Y. It's a tremendous undertaking, and as we go to break, I just remind folks that this is something that is added value for our community, and something that not only that they can feel worthy of, but that can actually benefit them. So we'll be back in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking with Jared Barrier, who is Executive Director for the Y here in Clinton, North Carolina. Might be something that will benefit you, your family, your community, or church. We'll be back in a moment.
To get the most out of your electronic devices, you need a strong internet connection and a protected home Wi-Fi network. You need high-speed internet from Star. Star has the fastest, most affordable high-speed internet service available for all your devices. We have no long-term contracts or high-pressure sales. Our service speaks for itself, and switching is hassle-free. We take care of everything with free installation from a local company. High-speed internet from Star. Internet at the speed of life.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming over to our last segment of the show. I want to thank you for being with us today and remind you to continue to send your comments, questions to weshouldknow.edu@gmail.com. That's weshouldknow.edu@gmail.com. And if you send us requests to mention something on the show, we don't mind doing that. More than happy to do that. Please give us a telephone number and a contact person for whatever the event may be, and we'll try to get it on. If not, we'll get it on one of the other network channels, or maybe transfer it particularly to the radio station, to some of the other shows on the radio station. Again, we come to you each and every week on Star Communications TV, Channel 16. WCLN Radio is simulcast throughout multiple counties as well. We try to get this information out on various social media platforms to get as much exposure as possible. Today, we're talking with Jared Barrier. Jared, thank you for being with us. And also, after talking to you for a while, thank you for taking the job as the Executive Director. It seems to me it takes way more than what one individual's capacity are to do this. So it occurs to me that maybe we need to talk about the organizational structure there, and talk to us about how folks get involved with the program called the YMCA, and also how many people do you need folks now with jobs? Do you need volunteers? Do you have your organization set up? When the doors may open? All of those kinds of things. I just sprayed you with a lot of stuff. I'm going to let you take the mic.
Yeah, so I'll start off with staffing. So we are, kind of the structure we're working with is I'm the executive director. I'm going to have 3 directors that are focused on other areas of our operations. And then at the moment, the rest of our staff will be part-time staff. So we've had our membership and wellness engagement director start. She started a couple weeks ago. Her name is Sadie Burchard. She's coming to us from Kansas City, has a long, extensive Y background. She's been a great resource for me so far, and I know she's going to be for the community as well. And so I'm still looking for 2 more directors, one over aquatics. And that aquatics position is also going to share their responsibilities with Camp Kirkwood, which is our youth summer camp in Burgaw. So it has a pool, and we need a director to, cover that pool as well. So that's kind of a 2-part role, probably, 80% here in town, 20% towards Camp Kirkwood. And then also need a youth and athletics, a youth development and athletic programming director. And so they'll be the ones who are over all of our youth programming and also over any recreational sports we're able to grow into in the future. And I've had some great applicants, and we're kind of moving forward in the hiring process. But I would encourage anybody who's interested to go on our website, and I'll provide that information here before we close. But they can go on, check out the job description, see what they think. I'd encourage them to apply because we are still accepting applications for those 2 director positions. Now, in addition to the full-time roles, we're going to need membership desk representatives. So those are the people who will be there to greet members as they come into the facility, take care of all their membership needs, check them in, that sort of thing. Then we'll also need our child watch staff. We need personal trainers, we need wellness coaches. They're the ones who will kind of engage with members actively while they're working out, be there as a resource for those members. And then we need lifeguards. And once we get our after school care and summer camps going, we will need some youth staff, youth development staff as well. So speaking of lifeguards, we are planning to host some training classes a little bit later this month. We kind of in a spot now in Sampson County where it may be tough for teenagers to get a lifeguard certification. And so we are going to provide some classes. We'll be posting information on that, but I can't share the contact information for anybody who has a child that's interested, or even an adult. It's could be a great side job for somebody. We are flexible on hours. But that is one difference between the facilities is we're going to have lifeguards on hand whenever the pool is open. Whereas with the Wellness Center, we had lifeguards whenever there were children present in the pool. But with the Y, we like to make sure we have someone on hand when anybody is in the pool for that safety aspect. But let's see, as far as membership, so we are currently accepting memberships. Everybody who joins now, and this today is May 6th, so I don't know when this is going to air, but probably towards the end of the month, we may pull back on the charter memberships. But anybody who joins now will be a charter membership, and that's just our way of recognizing the first group of people to sign up and to kind of thank them and recognize them for doing that. But everybody who joins as a charter member will not have to pay an enrollment fee. They will get early access to the facility. We're hoping to have a soft opening about a week before grand opening for everybody who signed up to that point to come in and use the facility a little bit early, and to also get a free T-shirt, to kind of recognize them as a charter member. And let's see, what else had we consider?
The other thing I think that's important in this is, I think you just touched on, I want to circle back right quick on, is that the qualifications of people that is going to be your lifeguards. These will be trained people to do this job. This is not somebody that just comes in, says, okay, well, show me you can swim and can you tread water, and then you put them up there as a lifeguard. This is a trained person. That's what you were talking about as it relates to the class. And I thought that was important to point out because a lot of people are concerned about water safety. And of course, we do programs on water safety. So it's important for folks to understand you've got that covered.
Absolutely. Yes. So, lifeguards are required to either be certified by the American Red Cross or through the YMCA certification trainings for lifeguards. And it's not just a simple test, that you can knock out. It's something that takes a little bit of work, and it is a multi-day course. The training course is. And so we are hoping to have a couple of those before the end of the month. So the week of the right there around the 20th to the 25th, we're hoping to have some of those. So.
Back to the member status thing, one of the things I wanted you to cover was the cost itself of a charter member, the cost of that versus a senior member, and at what age does a senior member become a senior member? Okay. Kind of tell us so folks can kind of wrap their head around the cost. And then you mentioned a while ago a cost for an entire family. If somebody has a family plan, it may be cheaper for them as opposed to being individual members.
Yeah, sure. So our basic membership rate, or our basic adult rate, so I would fall under this category, that is from ages 27 to 64. It is $47 a month. And our senior rate is $39 per month. And let's see, we also have a young adult rate, and it's also $39 a month. And then as far as the couple or household memberships, if two adults that would fall under that general range were to join together as a household, that rate is $66 per month, and then it's going to just bump up from there slightly as they start adding dependents or another adult on their account. So you can have a household membership, you could have 2 adults with dependents, 3 adults with dependents. It's kind of complex, but that information can be found on our website. And a charter member has the same rate as everybody else, except they don't pay the enrollment fee. So once we have stopped the charter membership signups, there will be an enrollment fee requirement. And that can range depending on the type of membership, $25 to $75.
Now, is that fee we mentioned a while ago, and this is probably a tax question, and probably be best to just tell people to check with their CPA or something. But typically, is that something that is tax deductible? So if you look at that membership and it's $60 or $47 or whatever, and do the calculation at the end of the year, you could use each one of those monthly payments as a tax deduction.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm not.
See your CPA and ask them.
Yeah. It's probably a good idea.
But I would think if that's possible, that's even added value to folks that are having to pay either quarterly taxes or what have you. And I know there's a lot of folks here that, we're an agricultural community and a lot of huge farming operations that are big business, and they always look at how are they going to play the tax angle, especially with families and that kind of thing. So we got a few minutes left, and I want to make sure we're covering everything you need to cover before we leave. The website where folks can enroll, we will try to post that on the screen for folks on the TV side as well. Any additional information that we need to cover that maybe we've mentioned, I could steer you in another way here, but then we'll take another hour to talk about it.
Right. Yeah. We'll kind of jump back to the membership side of things.
Yeah.
We also offer a very strong option of financial assistance for those that qualify. So that's also an option that can be done online. Right now, we're only doing signups online, but we are scheduling some days for people to come in and sign up in person. Some members may prefer to sign up in person. Others may not have the ability to sign up, with a computer. So, we are going to be announcing those dates for people to come and sign up there at the facility in person. And I believe it just about cover it for membership, but financial assistance, maybe we can include that link as well. It's an application process, and we usually try to notify members who have applied within 7 days to let them know what kind of discount they can receive on their membership. That's up to 50% off membership. So
you're going to be looking at doing a soft opening and having a grand opening sometime between now and, say, June 1st or the 1st of June, sometime in that range.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Within that range, we've still got a few things we're wrapping up renovation-wise in the facility. We're still trying to get some staff hired, and we have to do some staff training. But everything is moving forward as scheduled, and as long as things hold that way, we should be opening fairly soon.
Is there a phone number that anybody can call? I've got about 10 seconds here.
So currently, our phone should be coming in soon. We will announce that number when we have it. But I'd encourage, go to our website, or maybe we can share an email address too on the screen here in a minute.
Well, that sounds good. I want to thank you for being with us today.
Sure.
And this is kind of information that seems to be a lot of folks is talking about it. You know that the community has been talking about it. I was encouraged multiple times to get somebody on and talk about the why, because it's going to be a big deal. Mm-hmm. Clearly, it is. It's going to be an advantage. I think it also puts Clinton on the map again. That we are a nucleus for that. Mm-hmm. Thank you for what you're doing in the community. Thank you for your history with the military and being part of Clinton. So we look forward to hoping to get you back, and maybe
great.
we can even do some shots from the location itself.
Looking forward to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us today, and we look forward to seeing you again each and every week, particularly on Tuesdays at 2 Thursdays. And as we always say to you, with a deep spiritual move in our heart, may God bless you.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of We Should Know with host J.W. Simmons. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion regarding this or any episode, please send your emails to weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. And remember to tune in every Tuesday at 2:30 for another informative episode of We Should Know.